It's Matchday Live on LUTV, and it's 3 points for Leeds United, beating West Ham United by 2-1 at Elland Road. Jermaine Beckford and Nigel Martin are alongside us to dissect what we've seen this evening at Elland Road. But before we do that, let's chat to one of the goal scorers this evening, live in the Elland Road tunnel. It is Brendan Aaronson. Brendan, many congratulations on the 3 points. I think you were the happiest man in the world after 3 minutes today, wasn't it, judging by the smile on your face? How did that feel?
Yeah, it was a relief for me, to be honest with you. But from not letting the team down a little bit last week, not scoring, it was tough mentally because you don't get many chances in this league. So yeah, it was difficult for a moment of time, but I kept at it. I worked this whole week at my finishing again, and yeah, I'm proud of my mentality and I'm proud of the group.
Brendan, one of the interesting things about the game today, the first half, absolutely fantastic. Great start, as Tom mentioned there. Brilliant finish from yourself, but the movement to get yourself into that position. Second half was a little bit different. It was almost a flip, the reverse. It was great, resilient defensive display. What was said at half-time by the gaffer and the rest of the players in there? Obviously 2-0 up against a team that are struggling for confidence. Must have been good for you guys, no?
Yeah, no, it was definitely, we had a conversation. I think the last couple games we've given away late goals and we haven't been on our best at late stages of the game. So it was huge for us today to keep the mentality, and I think that was kind of the message all week, was late minutes in the game, stay on top of it and get the result which we needed today, and to hold the 2-1 win. And yeah, I think defensively we were good today. We handled a lot of crossing situations from them. And listen, West Ham's a team that has a ton of quality, so it was definitely a difficult game, but I think I'm just proud of the group.
Hi, Brendan, Nigel. Just looking at that defensively, with a goalkeeper coming in and Biol coming in as well, both big guys. Defensively, it made us look a lot stronger, I thought, tonight. They'll obviously be a little bit disappointed to concede that one right at the end, but how did you think they looked defensively?
I mean, yeah, it just shows the mentality of the group. I think we have this next man up mentality where, yeah, I think everybody's ready to play and everybody's wanting their chance. And I think the best thing about it is, like, when I wasn't playing in the beginning of the season, coming off the bench a lot, the intensity of the trainings after the game was top. And I think the attitude of the guys was amazing. And I think credit to Jaka, credit to Lucas getting through his injury, and credit to all the guys that come into the game. It's not easy not playing. We all know that as footballers we want to play, but it just goes to show the mentality of the group is strong.
Brendan, so important to get the first goal in a game like this. Particularly it's been something I know that you've discussed this season, of trying to get the first goal in a match. We wanted you to talk us through your goal from your perspective, because the atmosphere was great. Did you feel and were you targeting a good start?
Getting a little lucky sometimes, which I did today, and yeah, the ball bounces your way, but that's all about positioning and reacting. And listen, I'm really happy with the goal, and I'm happy with the group and the atmosphere. Like you said, it was amazing to score early. I mean, a couple of times last year we had a couple early goals to start the game, and it was huge for us. So yeah, it was a great atmosphere, and I'm proud of the team.
Yeah, Brendan, you talk about your mentality as well from that, and after last week at Burnley. How do you deal with what happened last week, to stay positive and attack tonight's game?
I think, I give a lot of credit to my support system around me. It was nice this week because, of course, it was my birthday, so I had a visitor with my girlfriend's or my fiance's parents, and it was an amazing. You can't call her your girlfriend anymore, mate. Yeah, so I'm so used to calling girlfriend, but no, the fiance's parents were out, so it was amazing, and it was a great week. And yeah, it's always good to stay positive mentally. It wasn't easy after the game, of course, but I'm proud of my support system. I mean, my teammates around me, of course, too, and yeah, I'm happy.
Well, it's going to be a great weekend for the Leeds fans and for you all. You can sort of relax and enjoy it and look forward to next week. Another tough game against Brighton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one down there. Definitely some travel, and yeah, we'll be ready.
Well done tonight, Brendan. Fantastic performance.
Well,
great 3 points. Brendan Aaronson there talking to us live in the Elland Road tunnel after a 2-1 victory over West Ham United. And just to reflect on what Brendan was talking about there, guys, mentality is talked about a lot in the professional game. And it does take a lot, doesn't it, to bounce back after a miss last week against Burnley at a crucial stage and come back and play with your chest out tonight.
Yeah, look, one of the most important things Brendan touched on there was his support network. Within the football clubs, as players, you've got people that you're going through the same situations with. But it affects different people different ways. We've all grown up in different situations, different scenarios, so we can handle different amounts of pressure or expectations. Whereas not so many people have got the support network at home, behind the scenes, where you spend a lot of time. You spend a lot of time by yourself or with your fiancé, as Brendan said there, or family, whatever it may be. And it's those people that will help you get over the bad times, but also to help keep you balanced and neutral for the good times. You don't want to get too high on the positives or too low on the negatives. So as long as you've got that support network, it helps a massive amount.
It is forgotten, Nigel, that footballers are human beings sometimes, aren't they? You know, no one means to make a mistake or miss a chance. That's not what you're trying to do.
I think what Brendan has to do in that situation is rely on his self-belief. You know, he's got to this far in his career by, you know, being a very good footballer. You know, you got to believe that you are capable of playing at this level. And then every time you go out there, you get a chance to express yourself. You've got to make the most of that moment. But, you know, self-belief is huge in that, you know, going forward for him.
Barely had a chance really to just sort of reflect on the fact that we've picked up 3 points tonight now, because talking to Brendan there, you know, delighted to hear from him, but it's just a huge 3 points, wasn't it? I mean, we were talking about it before the game. Obviously there was a lot of build up to it, but to go out there and get the job done in however they did it tonight, Bex, was so important, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Look, we're up against a team that are going through their own issues, going through their own troubles off the field, alongside being on the pitch, not really seeing the kind of football that the West Ham fans and supporters expect to see. So it was never really going to be an easy game for us. You know, they say sometimes the most dangerous games are the games against teams that are really struggling and up against it. And, you know, today, the second half especially the last 20 or 25 minutes of the second half, West Ham looked like the type of team that the fans have been expecting to see all season, but they haven't seen. And that was always going to make it a little bit tricky for us. But because of the explosive start that we had to the game, Brendan Aaronson scored early doors and then Rodon scored as well. That steadied the ship, that calmed and eased the nerves, and you know, it turned a game that should have been, from the outside looking in, a 6-pointer. It turned it into a game that we could go out and enjoy and relax and play the type of football that we as Leeds fans love to watch and we've seen over the last couple of years since Bielsa's been here, incidentally.
Yeah, we've been coming behind from games in recent weeks, so to get that first goal, two goals, Nigel, it changes everything then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, if you score first in games, you go on to win about 60% of games, don't you? You know, that is important. It is important to settle everything down. I thought second half we dropped off, you know, quite a bit, you know, and they did come into it a lot in the second half without creating too many really clear-cut chances. Jared Bowen was always a threat, you know, down there right, and obviously it was his delivery that got the goal late on for them. But we always looked as though we had enough. But just to come off the pedal a little bit too early in the second half, I think what we needed to do was probably try and attack them a little bit more in the first part of the second half, and just keep them pushed back. But you know, for the first time, they had nothing to lose, and they could throw players forward and take risks, and that caused us a few problems in the end.
Yeah, okay, more from Nigel and Jermaine very shortly, but let's just head back to the Ellen Road Tunnel, where we can get some reaction from our commentary team of Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
Thanks, Tom. Wow. Where to start with that one? It was a long night in all senses, that one, wasn't it?
It certainly was. A long first half where I think we played well. We certainly dominated, you know, West Ham in that first half and were deservedly 2-0 up. But the second half was an ordeal, because just when you think, OK, can we relax, can we take control of things, they came back at us. And then after that, we kind of lost our way, couldn't keep the ball very well, and it just became a bit of a struggle.
It was a good job, I think, that the goal back they scored was as late as it was, wasn't it? Because they didn't have enough time to build up a head of steam to exploit that. Yeah,
and I think eventually, if you give good players, you know, time and space, you're going to pay for it. And Bowen was a real threat, wasn't he, in the first half? Second half didn't get much of the ball, but eventually he's going to find that bit of quality. And the ball into the box was an excellent one. Good little touch. Perry obviously no chance with the goal. But then all of a sudden, we're thinking, come on, just blow the whistle. Let's get this over with, because it was just an ordeal that second half.
And yet, in the first half, in 25-minute spell or whatever, as good as we've seen this season, moved the ball, great intensity, and got those 2 goals as well.
And Daniel Farke would have said, right, let's start really quickly, put them under pressure, and let's see what we can do. And 2-0 up after 15 minutes, you think, OK, here we go. But we never then kind of really dominated the game after that. And I think possession was kind of 60-40 to West Ham. So that shows at home, we should be better than that. We should be keeping the ball. It should be a little bit easier. What I would say is the changes, though, really didn't help us either. Okafor, Goodmanson, that left-hand side was fantastic. Unfortunately, they both went off. And those changes just kind of disrupted the flow.
Set pieces are proving to be a valuable source of goals for Leeds United this season.
Can you believe it?
That's exactly what I should have said.
I'm shocked. Say that again? Yeah. Rodon top scorer as well, equal top scorer. This is a strange old season, let me tell you. No, but it's good. And we needed to be a threat from different areas of the pitch. We know that from last season. And set pieces have been fruitful. Did I really say that? Yeah, they've been fruitful. They've been really good. And Rodon, excellent header, but a really good ball in as well from Longstaff.
I just caught a word with Joe Rodon as he was going into doping control. He tells me he wants to be leading goal scorer this season.
Well, he is so far.
He's top of the charts with Okafor at the moment. But all those kinds of things are significant. They've been talked about a lot, but that is important. If you can get those goals from those situations, that helps, doesn't it, on a night like tonight?
You need it from all different types of situations. We've seen long throws, we've seen free kicks. Stack at Wolves was a fantastic free kick, and now we're seeing a few corner kicks as well. It is really important. We saw last season in the Championship, we dominated possession. We had the best team, the best players. You can win any old way. In the Premier League, you can't. You better try and take every single opportunity you get, whether it's a corner kick, whether it's a free kick, whether it's open play. So they've been good. We need to keep going like that. I'd like a bit more, from certainly the flanks, a bit more quality in for Calvert-Lewin, because he won everything in the air. He did some really good work, but he's not getting the chances I think that certainly he would like. But you know what? We won the game. That's the most important thing. Big 3 points.
Point ahead, a point a game rather, is what you're aiming at, generally speaking, I think, isn't it, statistically, to ensure a good place. So again, the win nudges Leeds ahead of the curve on that one, which takes a little bit of pressure off the next game every time. That's where it becomes important, isn't it, in terms of the pressure on each match?
It does, and suddenly you look at the table now, it looks a lot better. It's so important, though, I said at Burnley, didn't we, that just don't lose this one. Unfortunately, we're getting closer to them, but West Ham now, they're firmly down there. Wolves are down there as well. So there's a good few teams in between us and down there. So we know we've got a difficult December coming up. A few, very good teams we're going to play against. But all you can do is look at the next game and try and go and get some results, there. And Brighton is that next game.
Well, hopefully we'll be discussing things with Daniel Farke shortly. We think he may be on his way to us very soon. He is indeed right
he's
on
smiling.
cue,
Excellent.
appearing around the corner. Somewhat wet, I would imagine, having been stood on the touchline in the pouring rain all night. But delighted to say, Daniel, we can reflect on a very important win tonight, can't we?
Yes, it's always the same when you lose a bit the momentum, not in terms of performances, but in terms of results. To win the momentum back is always a difficult game, and then you have to dig in and grind out a result. And this is what we did today. We had a difficult week in terms of illnesses, injuries. Many players were struggling individually, so for that we need to show this spirit and togetherness, and also that many different players chipped in today. Also great start with passion and desire. You could feel a bit that our structure in possession against the ball was a bit wild in the first half. Could feel that there were many changes, anyhow we corrected this at halftime. We're way better in the beginning of the second half, but then in the last 20 minutes you also felt that the lads were getting tired after really a difficult week. We didn't have the substance to go for 90 minutes really on full strength today, but we wanted to bring this over the line. This is crucial today, and yes, for us, of course, priceless 3 points. The boys should be proud of themselves.
You must have enjoyed the 2 goals for different reasons, I would imagine, as well.
Yes, first of all, because there was lots of criticism with our conversion rate. So today we were clinical, especially with the first chances. Also happy. We want to score goals out of out of set pieces. We spoke about how important it is that also Joe Roden chips in. Great header again. And also Brendan Aaronson for me today, man of the match performance, outstanding performance against the ball. Also that he, for his confidence, is in there. Also with important crucial goal is also great. Always good for the offensive players to score, and overall a pretty good night for us.
I think this season we know at points we're going to suffer. In that second half, we had a good period of suffering, didn't we?
Yeah. Yes, like I mentioned, so we had so many players. Didn't speak too much about it in my press conference, but with illnesses, injuries, coming back from injuries, physical problems, also hits and knocks during the training. It was difficult today to find a balance of bringing some of them in because we couldn't afford to play completely without them. Ethan, for example, our leader, our captain was on the team. Noah, our best goal scorer, but it was always clear that he's not ready for much longer than 45 minutes. So for that, I had to react at halftime. And also to bring a few new players in who have at least trained in the last two weeks, but also for Yaka, the first game, for example, for AO, the first game since ages. Not like they play the opponent out of the park. It's always difficult. And I'm glad how they handled it, and we handled it as a team. Was a real team performance and also hard for 3 points. This exactly also with this atmosphere, a bit hostile. Anyhow, this is how you need to win the points as newly promoted side.
It's important in the Premier League that you keep planting the flag every few games, isn't it? You can't let the runs go on too long.
Yes, we spoke about that we need in the end 1 point average per game, and in the end, you need 9 wins per season in order to stay in this league. We are after 9 games on 3 wins. It's quite good. Also, to win this important, crucial home game, the next 3 points is priceless, and especially after unnecessary, unlucky, disappointing results and not deserved results for the lads. This was important also. Even I don't like to concede in the 90th minute, but also that we were then able in the last 4 minutes when the nerves were coming to bring it over the line. Then again, we'll do lots of good things for the confidence. And
I'm glad you were nervous as well, because I certainly was. You put us through the ringer, you know that, don't you?
Yes, of course. We dropped a bit too deep and defended too deep, and then sometimes you lose then your man, and if you drop too deep in terms of defending, you don't have pressure on the ball, and sometimes a lightly deflected ball from the offensive player can go in. So of course you could feel in the last 20 minutes, yes, that actually would have liked to have 11 changes today, but 2 were already done at halftime. Was a bit difficult today. So overall it was hard-fought win, and the only thing that matters today are the 3 points, and we're pretty happy with them.
I think we can all enjoy the weekend then, hey?
Weekend we are allowed definitely celebrate a bit.
Right, I heard the boss say celebrate. Let's go, absolutely.
Thanks, Daniel.
Enjoy.
Excellent, thank you.
Brilliant. Well done.
Now, when Daniel Farker gives you permission to go out and celebrate, he didn't say go out and celebrate, mate, just celebrate, then you've got to do what the boss says, haven't you? I think this weekend. Because it does change a lot of things. You know, playing on the Friday night as well, and West Ham's scheduling, of course, they have to play on Monday night, Friday night, which, if that was us, I don't think we'd be too happy about that.
Nope.
But it does just, as Bryn was saying to Tony, a point a game is your target. Every win just pushes you slightly ahead of that curve, doesn't it? And just... You can almost feel it around the stadium, couldn't you, Bex? It just relieves a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, it does, especially when you're up against a team that are down the bottom as well, struggling as well. The points are vital, and the magical 40 point mark is a target that we're aiming for, and we're aiming to get there as quickly as possible. And we're going to be able to do that by turning up against teams like West Ham and Wolves, etc., Burnley, the teams that are down at the bottom of the league. And we've got to make sure that we do the simple things well. We've got to make sure that every player's winning their individual duels, their individual battles. Once we're able to do that, look, we're not going to win every single game. But you mentioned if we're able to pick up a point, 1.1, 1.2 points per game, we'll be in a good place.
And as the manager reflected on Nigel, you saw a bit of everything from us tonight. There was expectation pre-kick-off. We go out, start well, score 2 goals. And then had to do the ugly stuff in the second half. So you saw a bit of everything that you're going to need, aren't you, in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was the start that we asked for, wasn't it, that they gave us, and that was important in the final result. They won the game pretty much in the first 20 minutes, but there was a lot of hard work that they had to do in between. It was interesting. He said there's a bit of illness around in the camp as well, and that possibly points to why we fell off probably. The amount of work that we were doing probably in the last 20 minutes. If people are feeling under the weather but are still out there. So, fair play to them, and we can all enjoy the weekend now, can't we? And just look at other results and hope they go our way.
Before we look at the second goal tonight, and Joe Rodon, who is aiming to be the top scorer at the football club this season.
Currently joint top goal
currently
scorer.
joint top. But before we do, just I suppose in terms of the changes that were made tonight, and I'd love to get your thoughts, Nigel, on Lucas Perry in goal. How did you think he sort of did on a slightly difficult game? It was a wet night.
Yeah, it's not easy coming in. Not easy coming in like that. When it's a call made by the manager. You've got to then back him up with your performance. I think he was pretty. He was very solid. He came for 2 or 3 crosses. Handled them really well, had a shot in the first half that he parried but reacted really well and knocked away from the danger. So, I know how he'll be feeling at the moment. He'll be a little bit disappointed to get to 89, 90 minutes, whatever it was. And then that little flick header, which, he's at full strength stretch. And if he can't reach it at full stretch, I don't think anyone can. So it was a good delivery in, good flick header. But that will be the only thing that will disappoint him and probably the team a little bit, was they couldn't get that clean sheet. But massive 3 points.
Yeah, and Beale seemed to really enjoy that second half in a weird way, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? I think he enjoys those battles, doesn't he, and sort of dealing with that pressure.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. Look, and he's another one of those players that has just come in, and there's a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure on him, especially against a quick player like Callum Wilson. He looked comfortable. He looked like he was relishing the physical battle. The pace of Callum Wilson will cause any defender in this league a problem. But when it comes to the physicality, his aerial ability was brilliant. His timing in the tackles, the slide tackles were fantastic. His distribution was really good as well. Again, similar to Perry, he'll be looking at that saying, it was a brilliant game, but I wish we kept a clean sheet. That's the only blemish on an otherwise brilliant 100 and I don't know how many minutes we ended up playing.
It gave us more time for more donuts, though, didn't it? In the Joe Rodon will be the happiest of the defenders, though, because he grabbed his second goal of the season inside the 15-minute mark, and he'll be gutted he hasn't negotiated some sort of goal bonus in his contract, unless he does, because set pieces are clearly something that we've worked on, targeted. Seems to be across the league, doesn't it? And this was another great header.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the delivery's spot on. You've got an area to hit, and the ball in is right on the money. He's timed his run and his jump really, really well. We said beforehand about Paqueta marking him was probably a mismatch and a mistake by West Ham, but we're not here to help West Ham at all. It was a good run. Got up well, good header.
Two sides to football, isn't it, Bex? If we're sat in the West Ham studio right now, we're probably looking at that and going, well, we made it really easy for you, didn't we? But
we'll be kicking off. We'll be absolutely fuming with Paqueta. We'll be fuming with some of the other defenders that are in there, because look, Joe Rodon is one of the strongest headers on the pitch today, let alone just for us. And he's up against arguably one of the weaker headers. In terms of physicality, the timing of the headers and that sort of stuff from Paqueta. So it was a major mismatch. But again, it's something that's fantastic for us, because we've got a great delivery from Longstaff, and we've got great movement and a great header from Rodon. So all in all, for us, happy days, mate.
People have always been told set pieces are always important. Yeah, you know how many goals you can score, but it does feel different this year. It does feel like we're not the only club that is targeting that as a way forward. Why do you think that is?
Well, it always has been a way of scoring goals.
But maybe the importance hasn't been on set pieces.
Well, it always should have been. It's teams that that do well score lots of goals from set pieces. Arsenal are not frightened from scoring from a corner or a free kick or whatever. Every goal doesn't have to be 25 passes and get in behind and slide it across for somebody to tap it in. There's different ways, and teams should spend a lot of time defending and attacking free kicks. Working different types of free kicks and corners and things like that. And defensively, they have to get them right as well. And I thought we defended our set pieces really well tonight, and we looked a threat on our set pieces. So obviously the work is being done at Thorpe Arch.
13th in the table, Bex, 11 points, 3 wins this season.
Yep.
How do you think the squad will be sort of digesting this over the weekend and feeling about where they're at?
They'll be buzzing with it. They'll be looking at it and saying, right, well, there's only really been one game this season that we've been completely outplayed and dominated. The rest of the games, arguably, we've been the better of the two sides. So those 11 points that we've picked up could easily be 16 or 17, easily, you know, and that's being generous. So they'll be looking at that and saying, right, well, if we're able to maintain this level of energy, fitness, composure in front of goal and defensively, organisation when we're in and out of possession, make sure we're not having too many players that are running off rogue, who's to say that we're not going to be able to finish 16th, 15th, 14th, 13th, maybe even 12th, 11th, 10th? Who knows? You know, that's the conversations that will be had inside. But again, I have to reiterate, we're a newly promoted Premier League side, newly promoted Championship side in the Premier League. We've only been in the league for a couple of months now. So we need to make sure that we get to the safety zone first. And if we're able to do that very, very quickly, anything else that happens after that and beyond that is a massive, massive welcome bonus.
It does feel, though, Nigel, that a bit of momentum, or certainly confidence, has been building as the season's gone, whatever the result. And that's going to take you a long way, isn't it?
Yeah, because of performance.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the performances have been there. You know, even like I said earlier on, you know, the games against Bournemouth and Tottenham, the performances were really high. And we, you know, the Bournemouth game, we all came off really disappointed because they nick a goal right at the very end. And, you know, you add an extra 2 points there, you know, an extra point at Fulham, you know, those late goals, you know, hurt us really points-wise. We could be a lot higher up the table, you know, and I think the confidence has got to be taken from the performances that the lads are giving at the moment.
Now, we all create narratives around games of football. Brighton, a week on Saturday now, so we've got a little bit of time to prepare for that one. Yep. But whereas a defeat of Burnley put pressure on tonight, does the win tonight take a little bit off that game, knowing that you're going up against a very decent Premier League side?
Yeah, absolutely. And Brighton will look at the way that we've been playing every game this season and say, right, well, there are certain areas that we just won't be able to compete against Leeds United. So they're going to try and find other ways that will try and benefit them. But they've got to focus on tomorrow's game first and hope that they come through that, firstly, with a victory, and secondly, with no injuries. And then they can start thinking about what's going to happen when we come to visit. We're in a position now, as Nigel said there, we can just relax now and enjoy the weekend. And it's a nice place to be.
It is. Although I don't think the pressure's off down there in the way that you can't go down there and go, well, it doesn't matter if we lose. Brighton have seemed to done well against teams that perhaps they're expecting to lose against, and not done quite as well against teams that they're expected to beat. So, you know, we've got to go down there and make sure we put in another really solid performance again. You know, yes, they'll probably have a lot more of the ball, but we've got to stay strong and compact, but still be a threat on the break.
Well, yeah, Nigel, you're dressed for a weekend of celebration, I think, so you're already ready to go. And thanks to VAR, I think we've almost missed last orders, haven't we? That's what's happening. Gents, it's been a pleasure tonight to have your company for a fantastic game at Ellen Road. And thanks to everyone for watching. You certainly will enjoy your weekend after Leeds United secured all 3 points against West Ham. We'll be back with the trip to the South Coast for the Brighton game a week on Saturday. So I hope you all enjoy your weekends.
Red Bull gives you wings.